This channel is for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions.
Hi, this is Joe Rabil. So what I'm going to do today, I want to go back to looking at price action as a signal for trend reversal. All right. Now, one of the first things I studied, in fact, I spent about 5 years studying W.D. Gann, really got into a lot of his sort of esoteric work and cycles and all that. And what I found is that if I use multiple time frames, I'm going to get the same kind of feedback that I would even if I became a really good cycle analyst of what, trying to predict and forecast. I'm not a big fan of forecasting, but if you do very good analysis in multiple time frames, you can really be ready for clean and important shifts in the market. So what I want to talk about today, I'm going to give a number of examples of stocks that are changing their trend using the price action. So we've been in a downtrend and we're starting to shift back to the upside. I want to show you examples of that. And I first want to start out with just a template that gives you a clean idea of what we're trying to find. All right, let's go ahead and get going with that. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is really clearly outlined and in detail in the course. However, if you're interested in getting started with this, I would suggest starting with the book. I think it'll give you a real good feel for how I'm looking at things, my methodology, and then you could move forward from there. It's at a discount. I'm selling it at a discount right now at rabilstockresearch.com/book. Also, if you do enjoy this content, please hit the like button and also subscribe. Okay, so let's start out with this template. And what I want to show here is there's a bull alert, which are important. We want to know when there's a shift starting to take place. All right. And that's on this side, these two here. And then bull confirmed is over here. So let's just start with the top because these go together. So this would be the first one here would be a bull alert for this bull confirmed signal. All right. Now, if we look at the way this is playing out, we're making, and let's just assume we're making kind of lower highs and lower lows. We're in a downtrend and we make a new low where the swing makes a new low versus a previous swing low. All right. This is a swing low and this is a swing low. We make a lower low. All right. Now we immediately, without any interruption, go straight up and make a higher high. Once we have that in place, we have what I would call a bull alert. All right. That means we have the potential for a shift in trend taking place, but we don't have anything confirmed yet. We could immediately come back down and take out this low, and then we would be back in a bearish trend again. All right. So we want to be on the lookout for these bull alerts just to keep us, if we've got a watch list, we want to narrow that list and start focusing in on names that are showing these alert patterns. Now, if you notice on this top one, we made a lower low here. On the bottom one, we actually made a higher low, but then we did come up and make a higher high. It still qualifies as a bull alert in this case. Okay, so just want to make sure you understand that we're looking for a shift in trend, and these are just giving us kind of like an alert or an alarm that says, okay, we want to start watching this a little bit closer. We have the potential for a change in trend to develop. All right. Now, if you notice what happens on this right side now, all right, we've gone to a new low here, and then we've immediately gone to a new high. Okay, and then we make a higher low. And I prefer it to not only be higher than this, but I prefer it to be higher than this low. And we make a higher low and then a higher high. So when we have that, we're in bull confirmed status. All right. Now, in this scenario, we've made a higher low and a higher high, and then we make another higher low and another higher high. All right. So we have confirmation of a trend shift here as well. All right. So in both of these cases, we're bull confirmed without using a trend line. All right. Now, I do not suggest using this approach with just the pivot reversals. I would only use that with the swing chart. I'm going to show you and give you an example. Now, most of the chart, I look at a lot of different zigzag charts. All right. Now I'm using Thinkorswim for this, but the actual zigzag is similar to the one that I use in ACP. It's similar to the one I use in AmiBroker, and So, in fact, TradingView is a little harder to find the correct parameters. At least I haven't been able to find it, and I don't know how to program in TradingView. But you can find something pretty similar in there as well. All right. So what we're trying to find, and the swings are based on the average true range. All right. So we're looking for a move of 2 times the average true range to cause a move from the low up to the high to create a swing. All right. And then the same thing going back down. We need a move of 2 times the average true range. Once we do that, then we can flip it from an up to a down. All right. So that's what's causing these to flip up and down. That's the minimum requirement. Now, if you notice the way this played out, this is a smaller cap Compass COMP. We're making lower highs and lower lows all the way through 2023, end of 2023. We make a lower low here and then immediately go up and make a higher high. Now, it's not a significantly higher high, but it does qualify from a new low to a new high. So we've created that. And then when we make a move back up here, basically coming back up through 475, 5, this is the first time in this whole period that we have a confirmed change of trend, which meets the requirements that I'm talking about on here. All right. So at this point, we should assume that unless we get a reversal of that, which would obviously be where we either make this type of pattern, or we do something like that, right? Where we reverse it to the downside. Until that happens, the trend is to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean you just hold on for dear life. I mean, I would use some form of exit strategy, trailing and scaling. But if we're talking about price action to determine a change in trend, right now the trend is up until we get the reverse of that. All right. In one of those 2 instances, either one of the ones that I outlined. So that's the trend shift, and it's actually led to a pretty decent move. The stock has doubled over the course of, it's been a little bit less than a year. All right. Let me give you another example that's a little bit different. So this is a regional bank. And if you notice, it's really sloppy. I mean, it was in a downtrend, but it wasn't a really powerful one. It was just kind of sloppiness, okay? But we never got a true reversal to the upside. We actually did have one here, back in here. We made a lower low, rallied up, came back down, made a higher low. But if you notice, it was lower than that prior peak. Okay, so if I'm comparing this to this, I've made a lower low, but then this one we made a lower. We were lower than this peak. All right, that's a little bit weaker. That's not the type of pattern that I really want to see. In most cases, I'd rather to see the right shoulder or the right bottom to be a higher bottom. In this case. All right. Now we make the higher high here and immediately reverse that. We didn't take out any real resistance or anything. So, I mean, yes, in theory, you could say that we did qualify based on the framework that I outlined, but as I'm showing, it's not all that strong. And then we immediately reversed that. We went from a higher high to a higher low, made a lower high, and then a lower low. And then we did the same thing here. We made another higher high and then came back down and made a lower low. Now look at what happened here. We went from a lower low and then to a higher high. Okay, so we have the makings of the potential, but we didn't go to a new high here. You notice what we did? We show this sort of sloppy sideways trading action. Again, this weakens the pattern. Just like this making a lower low than this prior swing weakens the pattern, it doesn't mean that it's not a signal. It's just not as strong a signal. Now, this one actually did make some upside. I'm not saying that it didn't have some follow through, and it did get through some resistance here, so that really did help. But if what I'm looking for is something that's a little bit cleaner, I would rather have seen it break out like that with a little bit more definitive. And obviously, we want to get through price resistance looking to the left. All right, let me just give you another example. Let's look at something like SKT. Now, if you notice, we're making lower highs, lower lows, and then we have a move here where we make a lower low straight up to a higher high. All right, and then we come and make a higher low and a higher high. It's above this low here is above this low, but it's also above this low. So we can think that that's the start of a trend. And again, it's been trending now for a couple years to the upside without a clean reversal in the trend. Okay, we don't have the opposite taking place to the downside. I'll give you one more example. Clear downtrend in place, and then we go from a lower low to a higher high, make a higher low relative to this prior peak, and then we make a higher high here, and we have been, again, trending to the upside, and this stock is completely ignoring the market correction, just continues to go on its merry way. So we want to be on the lookout for these types of patterns, and if you notice, we had the reverse of it to the downside. So we make a higher high here, and then we make a lower low, and then we make a lower high. Now, again, it weakens the pattern a little bit when this makes a higher high. Now, this was only a slightly higher high, and it was within the framework of the fib retracement level. So that was probably about a 50% retracement, maybe a little bit higher. But then we come back down, take out this low, and we trend to the downside. So again, we're looking for the reverse of this, and that takes place on this cross here. All right, so these are the types of things that I'm on the lookout for when I'm going through price action. And it's the reason why when I'm looking at my charts, I typically have a weekly chart with the zigzag on it. So it's crystal clear. Now, I tell people that the zigzag is the training wheels for the trend. Okay, but when you have so much volatility in the marketplace, all right, and we're dealing with a lot of volatility, you want to see a clean outline. This gives you a lot of confidence as to what is actually taking place. And then if we can supplement that with our indicators using MACD and ADX, know what price is doing, have it confirmed by the moving averages, then use MACD, ADX, price volume, and the price action to confirm everything that you're seeing in this chart. And I think it's really going to take you a long way. All right. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.